Good morning, it's Brian here at Fitzpatrick's Garage, Dublin Road, Kildare. I want to show you this 1000cc VTEC Turbo Honda Civic. In this video, what we're going to do is have a look around all the features and the tricks on these really cool 1000cc Turbo Honda Civics. And my plan is hopefully to display to you why this should be your next car if it meets the criteria of what you need. Brian is my name. If there's any information you want on this particular car, please do give me a call, text, WhatsApp, whatever suits, 086 843 1945 about trade-ins, about finance, or just about this really cool car. And if you're in Ireland and you're considering buying this car, we are Fitzpatrick's Garage, a family-run business in operation for almost 70 years. And we're based in Kildare town, just south of Dublin, about 30 minutes, with brands such as Honda, Hyundai, Mercedes and Opel. Throughout the video, what we're going to be doing then, as we were saying, is looking at the reasons. And these are reasons that I see people buy these cars. These aren't kind of sales pitches. These are the reasons that people we see actually buy these vehicles from us. And that's what makes me confident selling these cars. If I see people coming in and these are the reasons that they like them, then it's worth telling other people about it as well. The first thing on these Honda Civics has got to be the styling. It is so eye-catching. It really stands out. I always used to find when these cars came out first, if you pull into a petrol station, people actually looked at the car twice. So if you're somebody that's considering buying one of these cars, you've obviously seen the car around and you like how it looks. Looking down the back, it's got a nice spoiler up high, it's got a spoiler across the middle, it's got those really nice LED taillights, it's got a really aggressive rear bumper with those black plastic sections. The rear windows in the car have a nice privacy style setup. And the wheels then come in a really nice diamond cut finish. So while they're shiny and reflective, they're still quite dark looking. Everything's color coded around the car, as you can see, things like door handles and wing mirrors. And then moving around onto the front of the car, you got those more black grills on the bottom, which complement the front grille, which is black. And I really like the details on the front, like the likes of the side running lamps in the side of the bumper and those really cool daytime running lights as well. So I think it's fair to say the first point, and this is why I see people buying these cars, it's style. People really like the look of the car and that's why they buy them. On to the second reason, the engine. This is a petrol turbocharged engine. A lot of people that come to the garage these days are looking for a car that's got a small cc engine. They want low road tax and a car like this, which is going to be €200. They also want a car that's going to be easy on fuel, but they're worried about diesel. The likes of these cars, the man that had this beforehand, he actually travelled up and down to Dublin every day, and he averaged in the region of 5 to 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres on average, which is serious. That's nearly diesel territory, but it was still a petrol car. And in my opinion, that is some serious figures, but I'd always be careful quoting someone that. So on average, I'd always say to someone, somewhere in the region of 6 to 6.5 is very achievable, but if you respect the car, it'll be very good on fuel. And like what we saw from what the previous owner got, he was quite strategic in how he drove. He did a very, very good job and he got some excellent fuel efficiency figures. But the other thing is, on a car, you don't want to be bored. When you drive the car, you want to have a bit of crack. So when you put your foot down, you actually feel like there's some get up and go. What we'll do in a little while is actually we'll have a quick drive in the car and you'll see why people like this engine overall. So one part is the economy, but the second part is it actually has performance as well. The third reason I see people buy these cars then is safety. Things that are worth pointing out in terms of the car safety up through here, we have a collision mitigation, so under 32 kilometers an hour, if you encounter an object and you don't hit the brakes, the likes of this car here is going to hit the brakes and try and stop you from impacting that object. Panel here, and that panel is going to look forward. It's looking at things like speed signs. It's also trying to follow the car in front. In other words, when you have your cruise control on, it's actually going to follow the car in front. When they slow down, you'll also slow down as well. The car's also got things like lane keep assist, which tries to actively keep you within the lanes, and it's also got a lane assist warning, which means it will warn you when you're drifting out of your lane. And every door on the car, front and rear, they all have steel bars for side impact protection. There's airbags up front, there's airbags on the side, there's airbags at the curtain up high. It's a really safe car overall, and Honda were really adamant on this car that safety was one of the biggest parts of it. And even other things that you might consider in terms of safety, things like the headlights are automatic, so they come on at night. The wipers are also automatic. And even things like the headlights dip automatically when they meet traffic, not to blind oncoming drivers if you haven't done it on time yourself. These really nice diamond cut wheels. There's things like anti-lock brakes, emergency brake assist, emergency brake distribution. It's basically an extremely safe vehicle. So far, to summarise, the car is really stylish, it drives really well, and it's also really safe. But another reason people buy cars like these from us is because usually we've sold the car originally and it's got things like full service history. So this particular car here, we know the previous owner, he's done a really good job looking after it. He's gone for another Honda Civic again, he's gone for the 1.5 this time in an automatic, and he has done a really nice job looking after this particular vehicle. Even things like he actually had a paint protector put on the outside when he bought the car originally, and the car's got a full service history from the garage here. Tonight, unfortunately, as normal at this point of the year here it's very dark, so if you hear some of them background sounds, there is some really unbelievable wind outside. Anyway, that's the outside of the car so far. I really need to wait till it gets bright to show you the inside because it's just too dark in here. And we're also going to go for a good old spin in the car as well, and you'll see exactly how it performs in terms of engine, which is cool, gearbox, which is sweet, and it's just a very nice car because it's nice and wide. Anyway, you'll see what I'm talking about when we drive the car. So if you've managed to stay watching the video for this long, then I appreciate your time. If you want to keep watching, we're going to have a look around the features on the inside of the car, and we're going to have a drive in the car as well. The boot in this car then is really massive. It's one of the reasons I really like these cars because it's so flexible. I've used these cars to go on holidays for the last 2 years in a row, and I just find when you pile everything up inside the car, once you can let this cover back, it leaves so much space and accessibility in the boot. And if you have the need, you can also drop those seats down and you end up with a just massive load area that's pretty much similar to a car style van. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of flexibility in how you can use the car. So moving into the back, again, apologies about the rain. At the moment, this point of year, it's either dark or it's rainy, there's always something. But anyway, 3 head restraints, 3 3-point safety belts, ISOFIX down over here, ISOFIX on the passenger side as well. Sorry, the driver's side even. And in terms of the size, in terms of the back of these cars, if you are sitting in the car over here, this is the kind of headroom that you're going to have. I'm just going to move the camera around for a sec. So that's the headroom that you're looking at, nice and comfortable. And then in terms of the legroom, this seat is quite far back. Actually, normally, if I sit in the front of a car, this is how I would normally sit. So as you can see, actually, that's normally how I'd sit in the front of a car. And that's the kind of legroom I have in front of me. And just to give you an idea, that's still going to give the front passenger absolutely loads of room. As we were saying, the car's in excellent condition throughout, but I also have a brand new set of Honda Civic floor mats that we're going to put in the car just before the new owner gets to buy it. Then when we get into the front of the car, equipment levels, as we were saying, are really high in the car. So the first thing, looking in through the front here, we got a nice big digital revolution counter with trip information. And that's going to toggle through information such as general information, fuel, average speed, fuel consumption, navigation information, speed sign recognition, safety belts being worn, audio, maintenance, and Bluetooth information. Wipers are automatic on the car, so when it rains on a day like today, the wipers will come on themselves. Lights are automated, so again, on a dark day or night, these lights will come on themselves, and they also dip when they meet traffic. Over here then, you have cruise control with a speed limiter, and this is kind of to do with the safety we were talking about earlier. You got cruise control, which is grand, but it follows the car in front. When they slow down, you slow down. You got lane keep assist, which is basically trying to keep you within the lanes by actively moving the steering wheel itself, just following the lines on the road. There's a lane change warning, which means if you drift out of lane, it's also going to warn you that you've drifted out of the lane. But the other cool thing as well is it has speed sign recognition. Great, it tells you what speed zone you're in, but you can also set your speed limiter. So that means when you come into a zone, 60, 50, whatever it is, the car will now start to slow down and respect the speed sign that is just observed itself. Serious safety in the car, and it's things you wouldn't even think of. And let's face it, most people buying a car like this, they do want a nice looking car and they want something that's fun to drive, but everyone wants to be safe because roads are pretty damn packed these days. So, okay, Bluetooth is over through here and controls for radio. Moving down then, we have over here a really sweet gearbox. It is so nice to use. You'll see when we drive the car, or if you come drive the car yourself. Automatic park brake in through here, an economy function, start stop function, and then brake hold. Stops you rolling backwards, reduces how aggressive the cruise control and air conditioning is in favour of fuel economy, and this is going to save you fuel in the city where the car doesn't run when it doesn't need to be. In terms of USB and all that kind of stuff, there is a USB connector in through here. There's a nice deep armrest, storage area with drinks holder, which actually converts out into 2 drinks holders. And down through the centre then, there is more USB connectors with HDMI, so you can play video on a 12-volt outlet. The Honda Connect system then, some people have read on the internet and they've given out about it because it's got too much going on. Here's the thing, you have to set it up properly and then it becomes easy to use. So first of all, there's an automatic reverse camera, which you see in through there, which is going to complement things like the sensors on the front of the car and also sensors on the rear as well. And actually that reverse camera has a couple of settings. So what you can do is you can have different settings which zoom, or have a panoramic view or a normal view overall, and the guidelines on it are dynamic, so they actually move to give you a direction of travel. Climate control is in through here, so we have touch and swipe and all the controls along through here, very mobile phone like in the way they operate. Temperature on the driver's side, temperature on the passenger side are completely independent, and that is an important thing in the car. And like what we're saying, this is a Honda Connect system. There's a couple of ways to set it up, but this is the way it comes from the factory. There's a slightly different way I like to set it up, and it only takes a second, and once you do it then I find it becomes much more user-friendly. So for example, I can go into my audio here and I've got things like, we'll say, a station list that's going to come up straight away, which allows me basically just to drag and swipe between all the available stations. Bluetooth is pretty straightforward and navigation is in through here, but the other cool thing on these cars is they have smartphone connection. What I mean by that is going to be things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so it means you can just plug in your phone. If you've got an Apple, the Apple screen comes up. If you've got an Android-like screen comes up. And then you can go to Google and say, hey Google, bring me to Dublin Airport. Hey Google, tell me a joke. Hey Google, some ridiculous stuff, whatever you want to talk to Google about. Very, very cool. The reasons I think people buy these cars is, first of all, they look cool. There's a really good engine in terms of economy and performance. There's a really good safety rating on the car, and it's got a massive level of equipment as you see inside the car. Let's go for a drive in the car and see how we get on. In terms of how the car drives, what a rubbish day. Brilliant. So the first thing is gearbox engine, first gear into second gear. It's a really tubby little engine, 3-cylinder, just pulls along really well. There's 100 kilometers an hour. Do this while you're driving is rake and reach, so it goes up and down and in and out. Front windscreen is starting to get fogged up. It's just nice. This is lovely at night time because I don't know, it's hard to describe. Just you feel like everything is kind of at you. It's really, really nice. After that, all the stuff I was talking about already, which are the controls, you can end up taking your foot off the pedal, sticking on, we'll say, cruise control, so it's following the car in front, it's keeping you within the lanes. Gets real damn relaxing, so it does. The lights are going to be automatic and your wipers are automatic. These are the reasons that people don't want stress anymore. They buy cars to make their lives easier, and I think this is able to achieve that. So don't take my word for it, come drive it yourself. But even though it has all that automation and safety, it's still nice to drive. The gearbox is lovely, the engine is thumpy, it's a nice place to be. So there you have it, that's our 2018 Turbo Smart Plus Honda Civic. Everyone's got different criteria in the car of what they need, but if some of those criteria sound familiar and that's what you want in a car, then I definitely think this could be the right car for you. Anyway, if there's information you want in the car, 086 843 1945. Call, text, WhatsApp. Brian is my name. Fitzpatrick's Garage, Kildare Town. Thanks for taking time to watch.